You just scheduled your IELTS speaking test, but you don't know what topics they might ask you on test day. So here are 20 topics. Assalamu alaikum everyone, I'm Wafa, an IELTS instructor with over 8 years experience. Make sure you stick till the end because the last topic we discuss is one you'll likely be asked on test day. So let's kick off first with the topic about animals. So when it comes to animals, you might think of pets, captivity, endangered species, or extinction. But in part 1 of the IELTS speaking test, questions are typically a lot more simpler. So for instance, they may ask you a question like, do you like animals? And here's a sample response. Yes, I generally like animals. However, my preferences have evolved over time. For example, I used to really enjoy energetic dogs, but now I prefer more calm ones. In this response, the speaker actually maintains clarity and using simple vocabulary, despite the straightforward question. Next up, we have the topic of art. So discussing art may seem a bit overwhelming for some, especially if it's really not your area of expertise. But personal opinions matter more than technical knowledge in the IELTS speaking test. So here's a sample response you could give to a question about painting and drawing. So let's say the examiner asks you, did you enjoy painting and drawing as a child? A great response you could give is, reflecting on my school years, I may admit that art wasn't really my strong suit. While I appreciate the beauty of paintings and sculptures, I never really felt particularly skilled in creating them. So as you see in this response, the speaker acknowledges their limitations in art, but actually articulates their thoughts clearly. And moving on to communication. Communication is a universal aspect of human interaction. We communicate on a daily basis, so this is a pretty common topic. Here's a sample response you can give for a question related to communication. Do you prefer writing letters or emails? While I appreciate the charm of handwritten letters, I actually find emails a lot more practical for everyday communication. But on special occasions like birthdays, holidays, or anniversaries, I still enjoy sending and receiving physical letters. So as you see in this response, the speaker actually shares their preference while acknowledging the merits of both forms of communication, which is written letters and email letters. So now let's talk about crime. Discussing crime could be challenging, but it actually provides an opportunity to express your opinions on law enforcement such as police and higher authority and societal norms. So here's an example question that we are going to look at. What are some common rules in your country, such as driving or public transport rules? So let's take a look at the response. There's often debate about the abundance of rules, particularly regarding traffic regulations. While some perceive these rules as necessary for safety, others often criticize them as excessive. So as you see in this response, the speaker actually addresses differing perspectives on rules in their country and demonstrating critical thinking. So let's proceed to culture. Remember that culture encompasses traditions, festivals, customs, actually shape society's identity. So take a careful look at this question about festivals. What are the significant festivals in your culture? Here's a great response. Festivals actually hold a special place in our cultural heritage, serving as occasions for celebration and community bonding. As you see in this response, the speaker actually highlights the cultural significance of festivals while emphasizing diversity. So let's continue on with the topic of education. Education is a fundamental aspect of personal development and societal progress. So here's a sample response to give to a question about high school. What subjects did you enjoy in high school? High school offered a diverse curriculum, but I found myself more drawn to subjects like literature and language studies. So in this response, the speaker actually discusses, the speaker, which is me, discusses their academic interests and the benefits of studying literature. So let's move on to the topic of entertainment. Entertainment actually encompasses a wide range of activities. So here's a sample question about going to the cinema. How often do you go to the cinema? And here's a great response. I don't go to the movie theaters as often as I used to. In this specific response, the speaker actually discusses their movie watching habits and the influence of streaming platforms. So next, we're actually going to explore the topic of family. So family dynamics and relationships are actually integral to personal well-being and cultural norms, and this is a topic you will likely be asked. So here's an example response about question related to family. Do you have a big family or a small family? Well, my family is relatively small, consisting of my parents, a sibling, and a few close relatives. So as you notice in this response, the speaker actually emphasizes the importance of a family bond. And let's proceed to the topic about food and farming. So food and farming are essential aspects of sustenance and cultural identity. And here's a great question. Here's a sample question you may be asked about cooking. Should children learn to cook at school? Absolutely. I think teaching children culinary skills not only promotes healthy eating habits, but also it instills a sense of independence and creativity. So as you notice in this response, the speaker actually advocates for culinary education in schools and highlights its multifaceted benefits. So continuing on with the issue on global issues. Global issues actually encompass socio-political challenges and environmental concerns such as global warming. So have a look at this sample question you may get on your exam. What languages do you speak? As globalization accelerates, multilingualism becomes increasingly valuable for cross-cultural communication. So as you see in this response, the speaker actually acknowledges the importance of language diversity in an interconnected world, as we know the importance of language. Now let's discuss the topic of health. So health and well-being are actually paramount for a quality of life. So let's take a look at a sample question. Do you consider yourself a healthy person? And take a look at this response. Maintaining a healthy lifestyle is a priority for me, encompassing balanced nutrition, regular exercise, and sufficient sleep. So as you see in this response, it emphasizes the importance of holistic health practices for your overall wellness, right? So moving on to media. So media platforms shape public discourse and cultural narratives. Take a look at the sample question about newspapers. Do you think newspapers will still exist in the future? As digital media continues to evolve, traditional print newspapers face challenges in maintaining relevance. So, guys, I want you to really take a look at this response and think of how this response actually covers the technological innovations and the habits we have with where life is headed. So next, let's talk about money. So, as you know, financial literacy and economic stability are essential in everyday life. So, here's a sample response to a question about saving money. Are you saving for anything special at the moment? Currently, I'm actually focused on repaying a small loan which requires careful budgeting and financial planning. So, as you see in this response, we discussed the financial priorities and strategies for repaying our debt. So, proceeding to science and technology. So, have a look at this sample question you may get about your mobile phone. How often do you use your mobile phone? So, a great response I want you to carefully look at is mobile phones have actually become indispensable tools for communication and productivity in today's digital age. So, in this response, the speaker actually discusses the ability of mobile technologies and its role of facilitating daily activities. So, next, let's talk about space. So now let's talk about the space and the universe. So here is a question about stargazing and looking at stars. Do many people enjoy stargazing in your country? Take a look at this response. Yes, actually, a lot of people enjoy seeing the stars in the nighttime. There are so many people who actually climb the mountains in the evening to stargaze because it's such a beautiful sight. You are most likely to be asked a question about traveling or if you have any travel plans in the future. So let's say the examiner asks you a question like, when was the last time you took a vacation or you traveled? So a perfect band 9 answer would be actually during the Christmas holidays, my family and I took a trip to Egypt. Egypt was such an amazing travel destination because it's a mix of history and culture. What I really appreciated about Egypt is that they actually held on to all the historic sites, and it's just so beautiful to visit. We're able to visit the pyramids and the gorgeous beaches in Alexandria. If I would recommend anyone a travel vacation, it would definitely be Egypt. So the next topic is sports. So I want you to remember that if the examiner asks you a question about sports, and if you play sports but you're not really interested in sports, how exactly would you answer this question? So let's say the examiner asks you a question like, do you like to play any sports? Actually, personally, I'm not really too fond of sports. However, my son really enjoys soccer. So I would call myself a soccer mom because I always make sure I take him to his games and I make sure I support him by sitting on the bleachers and cheering him on from the other end. Next topic is transportation. In this topic, the examiner may ask you a question like, what form of transportation do you use daily? A great answer you can give is, I actually commute to work every day by car. It takes me about 45 minutes to get to work, and I'm so thankful I am able to have a car because if I was not, my commute would be about 2 hours on the bus, which is a long time to spend on public transportation. Next topic is festivals. So festivals is a big one in IELTS speaking, and you are likely to be asked this topic. So make sure you understand what type of festivals you would be discussing if you did get a topic such as this. So what festivals do you enjoy celebrating in your country? A great band 9 answer would be, one festival I really enjoy celebrating is Eid. I really enjoy celebrating it because it actually brings families together. Everyone takes the day off work. We exchange gifts, wear our best clothes, and we give money to the kids. It's really nice because you get to see relatives you haven't seen throughout the year just because of the hustle and bustle of life. And I would definitely say Eid is my favorite holiday of the whole year. And guys, the last topic is work-related questions. So as I mentioned, this last topic you are likely to be asked on IELTS speaking, so you want to make sure you know some vocabulary words on how exactly to discuss this topic. So let's say the examiner asks you, can you describe your job to me? The best answer you could give is, I'm actually a graphic designer by profession. During my day, I actually make logos for my clients and different flyers which help them advertise their companies. And what I really enjoy is these clients actually allow me to give my suggestions to them on different colors or themes that they could use throughout their business cards or flyers. And I find my job very exciting because I am actually able to bring out a creative side of me that I didn't know exist. So my job as a graphic designer is something I really enjoy doing. So guys, as you see here, these topics are likely to be asked on IELTS speaking. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want to know more strategies on how to prepare for IELTS speaking, then make sure you check out this video over here. I'll see you over there. Assalamu alaikum.